In my early 20s, I was dabbling a lot in what we would call magic here and Wicca and ritualistic expression of connecting to spirits and nature and whatnot. And during that time, I used to have astral attacks, a lot of them basically, where it would seem that I would go in the lower astral sort of realm where I call it lower astral. I don't know what's your terminology, but it's very dense, very dark, very black and white, and all the quote-unquote negative emotions are there. But I usually felt at home there. And during those explorations, once I was attacked by two entities that basically, from my perspective, almost sucked the soul out of my mouth. And it was a very intense experience, and I was aware of it. I was aware of what was going on, and I kind of managed to snap out of it by finally being able to scream, and that scream sort of managed to detach them from me. Is there anything you can tell me about that? I'm not, you know me, I'm not afraid of it. It's been a great experience, and it taught me a lot about polarity and stuff like that, but I would like to know more about what that was.
Yes, what we can tell you of that experience is this, that when you are experiencing that lower vibrational frequency in the entirety of the environment, it often indicates that you are experiencing a multi-dimensional portion of your DNA exploring a lower matrix. Mm-hmm. When you see the matrix levels, there are 12 within this universal construct, and when you see that matrices below or matrices below are those of a lower vibrational format. And what we believe you were experiencing is that. Now, we cannot look into that specific energy unless we invest a greater deal of consciousness. What we mean by this is we cannot go to that experience ourselves because it is in a lower matrix and it takes much more consciousness to explore. But when you are experiencing it, many humans have thought of the concept of hell. Mm-hmm. They have thought of the concept of the lowest form of the universe, and that is where either the first or second matrix belongs. Mm-hmm. There are also third and fourth matrix, which have entities that are very low vibrational entities. They are very low in both thought format and also ability to connect to love. And in that way, it is experienced as perhaps hellish worlds, and that is where some of the humans are tapping into. Mm-hmm. But it is a gift that is given to you from your multi-dimensional DNA, as most entities are not able to pierce that veil.
Okay, so that kind of makes me think about my shapeshifter Isolde, because she said that she was also able to tap into one matrix lower and one matrix higher than most entities. And I don't know, I'm wondering, why do those realms feel like home to me when I go there? Usually I feel like an alpha. I don't feel threatened except for these separate occasions when that happened, but I usually feel like I'm in complete control and more like a predator there than anything else.
Yes, and you are wondering specifically why you feel at home there.
Yeah.
Yes, it is because your consciousness has already mastered that realm. Your consciousness has experienced the mastery of all formats of this. Not only were you present within this galaxy in those specific matrices, but also your consciousness in whole has went through every level of that, every level of creation. You worked from first through sixth density all the way up to the entity that you perceive as 10th density before you came to this level. All humans and all entities in this galaxy have experienced that. So when you are peeking into that lower format, it is much as if you were a college student walking back into the high school that you went to. You feel as if you know intimately all things, and there is nothing there that can intimidate you.
Oh, that's very interesting. So that basically makes us humans like a Joker card. We can go wherever we want and do whatever we want and explore almost all the realms that many entities cannot.
Yes, it makes you very accessible. Now, we are not saying it is not possible for other entities, as it is. Mm-hmm. All entities who develop their sixth density consciousness in a certain way are able to do the same. I myself, in my whole consciousness state, am able to traverse through matrices as well. So when you are seeing that level, it is usually only given to those who are 6th density, working towards the end of their evolution. But in essence, because humans are 6th density beings as well as 5th and 4th and 3rd, they are able to express themselves into a format that is fitting of 6th density consciousness. That is what gives you the availability. So you are at your level, you are at a much higher level than most. There are beings who have had DNA manipulated that has still not been able to express their 6th density genes or 6th density DNA, and therefore not able to explore these nearly as precisely or delicately as some humans have been able to experience.
Okay, I understand. Well, that's pretty fascinating. Now that we're on that subject, I feel compelled to ask you this. I don't know why, but do I have any energy attachments or entities attaching to my energy in a sense of, I don't know, feeding off of my negative emotions right now?
There is an entity who is exchanging with you in this moment. It is not in a feeding cycle or a feeding loop, but it does take the opportunity to enjoy certain negative thought processes or emotions. So when you are going through what you perhaps consider to be a negative or bad day, these entities are very joyous to experience it with you.
That's a very, very interesting thing, because I was thinking about it as well, and when I'm having a bad day or when I'm having a downward spiral or whatever, it actually helps me when I invite entities like that to, participate or, if they're excited about it, connect to my energy, because then it sort of pulls me out of it, if it makes any sense. Usually people don't want that and think they're violated in some way, but in my case, I feel that I am stable enough, that I'm strong enough, that I'm safe enough that nothing can hurt me. But if I offer them that opportunity while I'm going through it anyways, I feel it's like an equal loving exchange, even though they may not be loving creatures, but there is some sort of exchange going on that's beneficial for both of us.
Yes, and you are quite right in this perhaps thought process, but let us perhaps explore and expand upon one concept. The entities who experience this with you from your invitation are very capable of love, but it is not the same format of love in which you are speaking. The love of their own expression is the love of themselves, and by giving them this, that is them sharing their love with you. They are showing you how much they love themselves in the moment through an action of yours. So it is quite loving in both formats, just a different format of what love tends to mean to most humans.
Yeah, understood completely. Do you know who they are? Like, are they some extraterrestrial race or energetic beings, or what they are?
Yes, often with your own energy, you are connecting to what most call type 2 reptilian energies. They are of the malevolent variety, but there are some occasions in where humans who are disconnected are connecting to you, where humans who have thrived for hundreds of years without incarnating of solely negative thought processes or negative thought projections are enjoying it nonetheless. They are connecting, perhaps even feeding. Most humans who are disembodied in the way that most of you would define it are not truly feeding off the negativity, but the negativity gives them the opportunity to experience a growth for them. It feels as if they are being nourished.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I really don't feel like I'm being harmed in any way while that is going on. I just want to make sure that that's said.
Yes, and you are quite right. If you were, you would not be able to fully either perceive it, or you would not be able to fully experience it as a love-sharing progression.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you.
There are approximately 17 minutes that are left in the connection, so if you desire to perhaps speak to another entity, we wish to give you the understanding of what time was left.
Oh, thank you, Aridif. That's very kind of you.
Yes.
Okay, so let's play with synchronicity a little bit. Is there I know I'm connecting to so many entities, I cannot even count them anymore, but is there somebody who is most connected to me now that I already spoken with or never have spoken with before that would match up my vibration to talk to them now?
Yes, there are 4 entities who are able and willing and access to be able to connect you in these moments. One of them is an entity in which we have spoken of today. We've spoken of Algol, and this entity is one that is willing to step forward. But 3 others come from even before this certain vibrational exchange, and at the beginning of our time speaking at the forefront. One of them is an entity that you perceive as reptilian in nature, of the type 2 variety, perhaps in the midstream of the type 2 variety, that is connected with you during some negative experiences. One of them is an entity that is vibrational matching to a Pleiadian consciousness that you are already used to, and another is an Arcturian entity.
Ooh, that's a tough choice.
Yes.
Okay, let me see. Let's explore the type 2, because that's where I'm at right now with my energies, I feel, and it might be the most conducive energy for me.
Yes. One moment, Kalina. We must have perhaps a few feet of space within this energy.
Is this far enough back here?
Yes, this is appropriate. Also,
Do you need water first?
perhaps hydration would be of the benefit, yes.
Thank you so much for this, Aridif.
Yes, you are quite welcome, and thank you also, Kalina. One moment, we will connect you to the reptilian entity that you desire to speak to.
Thank you.
Yes. So it's you.
So it's you. Brilliant. Hello there, and I'm glad to be able to speak to you through this conduit.
Yes, there are some things that we should talk about.
Please, go ahead. I'm very curious.
What is your purpose of connecting to me? In your perception, this other entity's perception, I am coming to you, but I see you coming to me. There is something you need from me, and I need to know what that is.
I would have to be more aware of our connection for that, but the first thing that comes to mind is understanding. Basically understanding your perspective and your point of view so I can integrate it into my own being, and so I can balance my ideas about polarity and what that means.
I have a lot of points of view, so I'm not sure which ones you want. I'll tell you this. The suffering of your people is interesting, to say the least. You have had a great deal of liberation from that recently, and it interests me slightly.
Slightly? What interests you more than that?
What interests me more than that is how in the hell that your race has come to understand that they are more than what they thought they were at first. And I know brains are not meant to think very, very deeply in your society, but those who have found secrets, and secrets that were meant to be hidden from them, and I'm interested in how and why. Why do you feel the need to know more than what you're told to know?
I guess theoretically, that's because of our DNA has a lot of different portions that when we start to learn about ourselves, all these different portions start acting out and wanting to know more. But if I'm talking from my personal point of view, it is because there is a visceral knowing that we already are more than we are told. It's something that cannot be explained in words, but there is a knowing that this is not all that is. And the expansion that comes from it comes through a lot of pain, and it comes through a lot of happiness. But the way humans work is that they go to the extreme, and to the very extreme they push themselves over, and they end up in another way. They end up to the other extreme. So that's how we stretch our energy, and that's how we embody that knowing into our bodies and into our consciousness.
I understand, and it's very interesting. So you have more than instinct and intuition. You have a light of sorts inside of you. It makes sense, but it's very difficult when you cannot break it down in an experience of a mental recall. When I am thinking of all the things that I have brought into my own experience, it is all starting from thoughts, not feelings.
I don't know if I would call it feelings either. It's just a knowing. It's more than thought and more than feeling. It's a certain awareness, and that awareness would maybe be able to be separated into thoughts and feelings later on when it comes down to be embodied through our egos and our consciousness. But the awareness itself remains intact, no matter how suppressed it is. And it's very little needed for humans to go above that sort of limitation, because we are pushed to so many extremes that it has to fly in some direction after a while. And I wish to be able to discuss this more with you, not just through this channel, but through our own connection, and sort of help you understand how that works, and possibly you help me understand what exactly is it that you want to know in specific, and what exactly is it that you're getting from this as well.
I think that is very doable. I am, to say the least, very interested to see how your mindset works. I'm getting comfortable with a few things, but your need to know more and to get out, I understand the thought, and I understand the mind, and I understand processed thinking, but I don't understand the processing of those feelings. I don't receive feelings, I receive understanding, and this is the connection that I'm trying to connect both dots together.
Would it be more helpful for you when I invite you to participate in my processes to more verbalize them in my head, or put them more into a mental concept and work them through in that way instead of just emotions?
Much, much better. That is what I want, yes.
Okay, I will definitely work on that. I'm pretty sure that my mind has the capacity of doing that. I just wasn't aware that this would be helpful for you.
More than you could know. It makes much more sense. I know you're capable of thinking very deeply, and I have more than deeply thought about how to convey this thought, but I work in the thought process, I work in the mental expansion, I work on finding all things I can in the universe, and one thing that leaves my grasp, one thing that eludes me, is the concept of humans with, you are just as able to do as I do. You are just as able to see what I see and think what I think. But yet you are also able to place your mind over to something that is not tangible, and that is very disturbing and very curious at once. Same time, I feel that for both.
I understand what you mean, and I don't know if I can say that I quote-unquote feel your process to a degree that I'm capable of, so I'm really looking forward to working with you in that regards and helping you understand it better, or to whichever degree you desire. I was wondering if you could tell me more about yourself.
What degree I desire is the most.
Yes, please go on.
What do you want to know? There are many things to tell. What I want to know from you, you gave me a choice of to what degree. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Please go on.
What I want, yes, and what I want to know from you is everything. I want it to be at the deepest extent and level. What you want to know about me, first of all, where do I come from? I come from a place that is buried, some place you do not even know, that you are not aware, a place that is out of sight of humans altogether. I'm so far upon the other side of the galaxy, I can't even reference it for you to be able to understand. What am I? Who am I? I am from a race called the Townie, and the Townie have been present for millions of years. We have just come into contact with understanding this part of the galaxy, and humans are a big fuss in this part, so we needed to see what the fuss was about.
Well, you've come to the right place.
What more do you want? What more do you need to know?
Can you describe yourself to me?
Yes, we have. We are within a delay.
Yes.
Yes. We can show you in your mind. Our race is able to project large thoughts. If you want it, we can give you, but I suppose using this limited voice and definition, we could tell you instead of show you. If you look at my physical body, I am, in your measuring terms, 7 foot, 1 inch tall. My skin is very brightly red with patches of black, orange, and green. My physical body has scales, much as most reptilians you've seen, but our scales are much more beautiful. They are much smaller and much more shiny than most. We are winged beings. We have the ability to stretch our wings over 12 foot in width. We also have a very large tail. Our tails are longer than our physical bodies if we were to place ourselves side by side. We have feet and we have hands and we have large sharp skin that grows out of our fingers and our feet, and we also have very large eyes that some say are like the pits of fire. They're the depths of the deepest blue fire you have ever seen. That is how profound and deep our eyes burn. They see us with him. When they see our eyes, they know all they need to know.
Wow. Okay, is there a way we can establish a signal or something, and when I use that signal or symbol, you can send me the imagery, or you can know that there's a connection and I'm ready, that I want to communicate with you or something like that?
When you think just of the name Kaut, then you know who I am and you call me.
Can you repeat that name for me, please?
Kaut.
Kaut.
That is my own designation from a family who has been in the prestige of exploring this galaxy for thousands of years. I am the Kaut. I am the leader of this family. When you call that name, you call me, as I represent all of the Kaut.
That is beautiful, and I'm very honored, Cult, that I'm able to communicate with you and that you are intrigued by my energy. Can you just tell me one more thing before we disconnect, because the connection is not really handling our intense energies well? According to Aridif and the vessel you're using now for communications, what level or what density is your race right now?
Number 5. Number 5 levels. And how that is interpreted as 5th level.
Okay, beautiful.
It is...
Yes?
It is a time for me to remove myself. This body is very uncomfortable.
Okay.
To say the least.
You can come to me, I'll be comfortable.
I have already found comfort in you, in your mind and in your overall essence, and I find an invitation more comforting. I will be there to create a bond together.
Thank you. Strength and honor to you, my friend.
Yes, it is honorable.
We are back without hesitating or delay, Mrs. Aridif.
Thank you, Aridif, so much that you made this possible. You cannot imagine how grateful I am. And I know our time has come to an end right now, but as you know, I communicate with you often outside of this sort of way. So I will be sending love and light your way, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.
Yes, it's been a great pleasure and excitement to speak with you in this day, understanding that you are already aware that you are loved, and that also I love you.
I love you
we
too.
bid you adieu.
Goodbye, Aridif.